He wants to jump
1,000 cars. Sir, you have 1,000 cars.
I don't think I'd attempt to try this stunt.
Or we owe this horsepower to Uncle Sam.
Too many cars.
car. Roses would be.
Like I put my beer belly on it.
You can't immediately tell somebody how many cars you have.
You'll really give those uppity yuppies something to think about.
Stay on the bar. Don't go off the bar with your Bronco.
1980 Volvo horns. What's right? I want to have a man's coolant.
And he's like, oh, I thought it'd be small. It's for a small car. And I'm like, yeah, but it's still an automatic transmission. They're never going to be light.
It's definitely going to have to crash.
Starting off with Brad buying another car.
That's the West. Internet.
You know, is this a Nigerian oil print?
I also wish you drove a Tan Camry.
Anyways,
Anyway,
that's a
horrible,
very
horrible podcast content.
Very
Talking about a picture.
inside joke. All right, welcome to Auto Off Topic. How are you, Brad?
I, Andrew, am pretty good. Yourself?
I'm great. I just got back from another Trek night in America.
Mr. Race Car Driver over there.
Yeah. I think, the last time we missed last week. So the last time we recorded was like the day after, I think, not the night of.
The day after your last track day. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you were away last week, right? So we didn't record. And then I don't know what happened. But anyway, yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Another track day. Yep.
It was at Lime Rock again, which it was kind of like normally it's like pretty quiet, pretty sleepy on a Thursday at Lime Rock, but Grid Life is this weekend, so they were doing load in like while we were doing the track night. So like all the Grid Life stuff was getting set up. Like the Falcon tire trailer was there and some of the drift cars were there already and all the FCP Euro stuff. Because I'm going to I'm going to Grid Life too on Saturday. So it's kind of silly. I drove out to Lime Rock. I'm going to drive out to Lime Rock again on Saturday.
Is what it is.
And then I bought tickets to Watkins Glen because I said, screw it. I want to go see a NASCAR race. And the other race I wanted to go to, NHMS, was rained out. And I want to see a road course. So I'm just going to... Sure. The race isn't until 3 in the afternoon. So if I leave at 6 a.m., 6 hours, get there around noon, hang out, watch the race, just come right back. Another 6
You're not
hours.
going to spend the night there?
Nope.
Do
Just
you
doing a
remember
turnaround.
last time we did that?
What was the last time we did that?
It was many, 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 many years ago, like 2010 or 11. And we went to New Jersey Motorsports Park for a rallycross. And we drove back the same day, and we were ready to murder ourselves on the way back because it was too much.
We got stuck in Jersey Shore traffic.
We were 10 years younger then, Andrew.
Here's the thing: we spent 3 to 4 hours.
13 years younger. Oof,
it took us. It's not normally a 6 hour drive. That's a lot closer, I think.
It is a lot closer, but you're doing a 6 hour drive this time, so you're doing that amount.
No. I'm sorry. That is a 6 hour drive normally, but we got stuck literally in New Jersey for 3 to 4 hours on the turnpike because it's the Jersey Shore and it was a Saturday or a Sunday in August.
Sure. I thought it caught.
This is out in the middle of nowhere. You're just on I-90.
All right. I hope you're not going alone.
I'm not. Stephanie's coming.
Okay.
And her dad's coming to visit. And he's a NASCAR fan, so we're bringing him.
Okay, that makes sense.
And his boy, Chase Elliott, needs a win.
He does.
Maybe
It's a road course. I mean, he almost got one last week. We can jump into that in a little bit, but he was pretty close.
So we'll see. That should be pretty crazy. Because, all right, we'll jump into it. Anyway, let me go back to the track night.
Yeah.
We'll talk about NASCAR because the race was pretty cool last week too. So yeah, track night, Lime Rock, use the G20 again. This is the first Lime Rock I've been to. I feel like I made improvements
in the past week.
Oh yeah, I did. So I actually, it was a week and a half ago. It was my birthday. I had the day off. and I got some speakers for the back of the G20 because they're all blown out. I had to take the whole tray off, the rear package tray. And I had that strut bar hanging around, which I couldn't put it in because the package tray was in the way. And I was like, well, I'm not going to do that unless I have speakers at the same time. So I got the speakers, just like $50 speakers, because the factory ones were the cones were just gone, just disintegrated. And they weren't that great when I got the car. And then
it's 95 car and it's 2023, so that makes sense.
What a rip off. Don't build them like they used to.
Yeah.
Open up the trunk like recently, and like there was foam in there. I was like, where does this foam come from? And I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh, this is speaker cone foam. Like it just like the foam, it's like paper on a factory speaker. It's like paper with like the foam at the edge. The paper was still there. The foam is gone. So like the cones were not connected.
It was
so
kind of
really good, good working speakers. So like the magnet will just move them, but they're just open to air or just
sounded
not
like
pushing
everything sounded like 1930s AM announcers.
Yeah. There's still some crackling in there. And maybe it's the front speakers are bad. I got to take a door panel off and measure them. I'll throw some in. I don't know. It sounds better. It's not great. Sometimes you're driving down the road, listening to it, and it sounds like, I'm like, oh no, there's stuff hitting the windshield, but no, it's the speakers popping.
Oh, it's no secret that neither of us have ever been giant audio guys, so
I don't really care if I just get the crackle out of it. Would be a little less annoying. But
yeah, I've never even had a car with any kind of actual bass in the stereo system until I bought a car from Jordan here, who puts bass in everything. So I now have cars with subwoofers in them, but it was never a thing I even thought about. Now that I have it, I'm like, oh, this is cool. I like this. Good audio is nice to have. So, but yeah, no,
it's good enough.
Crackling is
I listened to some podcasts on my way to my track night with my AC on. It's quite nice.
That's a beautiful thing. Yeah, the AC in that car is quite effective.
It is. Kind of annoyingly, pretty sure I replaced the wipers and it started to sprinkle a little bit. I must have got something on them from when I was detailing it, and I'll talk about that because they just like smeared like so bad. I was like, almost couldn't see. I was like, these are like brand new wipers I put on like 2 months ago. But anyway, yeah, it was like overcast, but didn't rain. It was a lot like in the 70s. So yeah, it was because the last track day was like in the 90s.
Yeah, that's a bit warm.
Yeah, it was a lot more comfortable at Lime Rock. And yeah, it's the first time I went to Lime Rock since going to the Nürburgring. And yeah, I feel like that helped again. Like I was cruising pretty fast in like fourth gear instead of like third gear, like almost top of fourth through most of it. And
where you normally were in top of third?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a lot faster then.
Like repeatedly across the start finish line over 100 miles an hour.
All right, that's fast.
It's very fast. I need to look at the video and just do a rough time calculation because before I was around like a 110. If it's like a 105, like that'd be pretty cool.
That's a pretty good drop just from, I mean, really, you can't say that the strut bar did that. That's just skill improvement.
No, that's like looking for the apexes, trying to let the car track out and not turn the wheel too much and scrub speed. Just like really trying to carry momentum. I mean, there was like about a half a lap. I have it on video of me just chasing down a C5 Corvette through that S's section in the front. And then, of course, they blast me on the straight, but I'm like definitely catching them through the twisties.
It's awesome.
So,
That's awesome. That's a huge improvement. So it's good. It's good to hear.
So much so that I seemingly used more fuel than I'm used to. And like the last session, I was going out and the gauge was starting to get really low. And I was like, well, I'm like 5 or 10 minutes into this. It's no big deal. I do it enough that if I don't get 10 minutes of a session here, I don't want to run out of gas.
Hey, that'd be annoying because there's not a gas station right there. Well, there's gas.
There is one in the paddock,
premises.
but it's probably like $6 a gallon.
Also, it's normal Phoenix pricing.
Yeah. But I actually, when I went to leave, I took a left out of there, and like 10 minutes away, there's a gas station. It's like closer than the other gas stations. So I was like, oh, I didn't know that.
That's not too bad. So you don't have to worry about it quite as much.
No. There's some road construction around there that I got to watch out for when I go back. So Saturday, I'm going to go back. I'm going to try to get the Talon out of the garage. I haven't really driven that this year. I think that'd be a cool car to take to Grid Life.
Absolutely.
Because I was like, oh, I don't want to drive the G20 again. It's cool, but I don't want to drive it again.
Sure.
And hopefully
the beauty of having multiple cars is to use multiple cars.
Yeah, and hopefully the weather's not too hot because the Talon definitely does not have any AC.
Correct.
And I'd probably have taken the not the Q45, the Galant, but I forgot to get a sticker for it.
Does the Talon have one?
Yeah, because I did it in October. Okay. Last October, so it's valid.
Yeah, I'd say it's worth the risk, except that you're on the Pike, so it's not, because you definitely get.
No, it's not, because it's all state police.
Yeah, definitely. The Pike.
And they were out tonight, so yeah, I was just like, I don't have time to get ticket, one.
But it's also 2 points in your license, so it's just not worth it.
Plus, the car kind of needs an alignment. I think I don't. It was whatever. I'm like, I'll just drive the Talon. I haven't driven the Talon in so long. Let's just drive it. It's like it's got good like Grid Life vibes, right? It's low now. I got HREs on it.
It's on Stance Boy wheels. It's good to go.
Yeah, like nobody ever sees DSMs. I'll have so many kids coming up to me being like, "What is this?"
If it's anything like the kids that come to me when I'm in the Eclipse, they're gonna say, "What is this? A Saturn?"
Yeah, I'm gonna roll up. How do you do, fellow kids?
Yeah, hello, youth. I too am youth.
Yeah.
You need what's his name? The actor there. You just put skateboard over your shoulder and
Steve Buscemi.
Act like you belong. So there you go, Steve Buscemi. I think the Grid Life crowd, because we've been to a Grid Life event. We went to and you've been to this one last year, right?
It's a good mixed crowd.
Yeah, it's a pretty good mixed crowd. It's not just kids. There's a good bunch of the. God, are we middle age? I guess we're middle age.
Oh,
there's a good bunch of middle aged people there.
I'm excited because unfortunately we missed it last year, but and all the other ones have never been in New England, so the Atlanta one was cool.
Sure,
but I'm like, man, this is
great.
Well, I like what they did with this one is that they really went for like the like 70s through like 2000s like era of cars.
Okay,
because it's Grid Life Circuit Legends, so they're doing they have a curated concourse area with all quote unquote tuner cars. But if it's anything like this, it's not nice enough. The paint's not nice enough.
Yes, it is. You're killing yourself again because that car is
it's not
perfectly period correct car.
It's not as nice as some of these cars I've seen in pictures. So
it's not, but also, so I'm curious when you're there on Saturday to look at these cars up close, and I bet that up close they're no. Some of them are probably nicer, but I bet a lot of them are no nicer than your car. So
maybe. But
either way, your car has all the cool period parts on it. It would definitely be a cool retro import car kind of thing.
So that's cool. They're doing that up on that hill that's over the front straight.
Like if you're coming down the front stretch on the left side?
Yeah. So if you're standing on the big hill that overlooks the S's.
Yep.
And you looked over to your left, the hill that's in the outfield.
It is normally nothing there. So that's good.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool. They're doing like a bunch of different races. They're doing drifting. I'm really excited to check it out, and it's cool to see that Lime Rock is doing young person stuff.
Young to middle-aged person stuff, yes. I wonder what a plane ticket costs to get there tomorrow. Probably too much money now. I kind of want to go.
But
Jealous.
yeah, our buddy Steve Booten's going to be there too. And I have media for Auto Off Topic, so.
Oh, good.
I don't know exactly what that means.
Well, it means that I expect pictures.
Yeah, I mean, you could do it without media too. Lime Rock's like not. That's the great thing about Lime Rock is that it's really good access.
Well, I wonder if it'll get you to like the way you see a lot of media people sometimes in the outside of. I have to go through the S's, the outside of what is that turn 4 right there?
It doesn't get me trackside.
Oh, yeah, I don't know what it gets
because you had to be like on assignment or something silly, and it's like whatever. This is like I have the influencer one.
Okay.
So, we're like vlogger influencers.
So we need to make splash graphics for the next episode, and you'll never believe what happened when Andrew went to Grid Life.
Yeah. No, it looks really, really cool. I don't know. I don't even know. Like I lost my train of thought of what I was trying to talk about with like. Oh, you know what it was? So I remember, and you'll remember this too, like the Nopi stuff, like 20 years ago, right?
More than 20 years ago. Yes.
It was probably like 99 to like 2005. I think it was still going on after that.
Yeah, it may have. It was falling off though.
But like, it's got that vibe, but with something that's like a thing I actually want to go to.
It has that vibe minus the cheesiness. I think
right?
honestly,
because it has the motorsport part.
Yeah.
And like the music stuff is also fun. Oh, that's the other crazy thing. So I don't know if you saw Grid Life's Instagram post. Apparently T-Pain went to the one that we went to in 2018 in Atlanta.
Yep.
And was introduced to drifting, and now he's been into drifting ever since, and he's going to be drifting Saturday.
Did you not know that?
I did not know that T-Pain was into drifting.
Okay, so when we were there in 2018, he was there as I think a guest of Killer Mike.
Okay,
who was also
that makes sense.
Yep. And he got big
Atlanta.
into drifting there, and then because Killer Mike did the music at Grid Life 2018. And then he got big into drifting, and then last year there was a huge like controversy about some major drift shop that was helping him work on his car and like basically stole it and had it forever.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's a whole thing. Like he was like, "Listen, I haven't said anything about this. It's been like 8 months, and I'm finally saying something about it because I want my car back." He has the Pickle Rick liveried S14 Nissan.
Oh,
so yeah, he's pretty big into this. It's definitely no secret. I'm surprised you never heard it. I don't know how that got past you.
I'm not a big I don't listen to T-Pain. My wife loves T-Pain.
I don't listen to T-Pain either, but I knew all this just from. I don't know. You're already failing at trying to blend in with the youth, Andrew. I don't know what's happening. You're in trouble. You're in trouble.
Who is this, Mr. T? Panini?
T. Payne. Yeah. Who the T Panini on track? No, it's yeah. Your influencer youth cred has gone out the window. I'm going to revoke your media pass, I think. So no. Anyway, yeah. T-Pain has been in drifting for a while. There's actually some stuff on Hoonigan a while back because Hurt was helping him learn how to drift down in Florida. So
apparently, I think Hurt will be there tomorrow too. I don't really watch any of this YouTube stuff. I just know it ancillary from like you.
Sure. Yeah, I don't watch all their YouTube stuff either. Only stuff that I know I'd be interested in. But he's a pretty. I've had the pleasure of meeting him once, and he was actually a super nice guy. So it kind of left an extra impression on me. So But anyway, yeah, no, I'm a little jealous you're going. I kind of want to go, and there's no Grid Life out here, so that's cool. That's a cool event. So I just looked a flight up. It's $300 round trip. I could make it there.
Oh, Ryan Turek is bringing that Toyota truck that you saw at SEMA.
Yeah, the Stout, the 70 or 69 Stout.
Yeah,
That'll be cool to see actually all done and running. I saw it parked. Unfortunately, I didn't get to see it moving. Ryan Turek's actually in the process of, they just closed on some land up in New Hampshire. I don't know if you
saw
heard this
that.
yet. Yeah, and they're building
Like
a
Driftland?
dedicated drift track up there. Yep. So New England, all of a sudden, the motorsports capital of America.
Well, a lot of the tracks, like Lime Rock, set up like a drift area at the top with like FCP Euro. But I don't think they do like a lot of drifting there. I could be misspeaking. Thompson definitely does drifting all the time. I keep meaning to get down there. Just haven't had the time because it looks cool because they do like Friday night ones. But that requires trying to fight through Boston traffic to get there on a Friday night.
Yeah, you'd have to take a half a day and go midday just to beat the traffic.
And they used to do parking lot drifting at HMS. I don't know why they don't do that anymore, but I think everybody kind of moved to Thompson. I think Thompson's really the only place that's been doing it. But anyway, it's pretty cool. I say what you will about it. It looks cool. It's just a different atmosphere. It's the way I always describe it to people that are like, don't understand what drifting is, but maybe understand what skateboarding. I'm like, it's the same thing. It's the same. Yeah. The same kids that were skateboarding are now driving drift cars because they can drive.
Yeah. The only thing I don't like about drifting, the only thing I don't like about drifting is the people who just really don't care about the car and they just go out there to smash things and have be ridiculous. But
there's that. But there's a lot of really nice drift cars.
Yeah, the majority of people aren't into that. That just happens to be what you see most of, unfortunately. But most people can't afford to do that. People talk about amateur drifters all the time. Like, what are they in it for? They're not in it for money because it costs them money. A full drift weekend, it's going to cost you $1,000 probably by the time you get gas and transportation and tires and lodging and it's and registering for the event. It's not a cheap thing. It's not like going out on autocross or doing a track day. It's very expensive. So it's not, smashing your car is not ideal. So unless you have disposable income and don't care, then it's different. But people that truly do good drifting are cool to watch, and I'd like to try it sometime. I don't want to go out there and like proximity run walls, but I'd like to just go out there in a big open area and just practice transitions back and forth.
There's a bunch of really nice drift cars around here, though.
For sure.
And again, back to Grid Life in 2018, when we were watching the Pro Drifters, like that was really cool.
Yeah, that was wild.
Because those cars are like 1,000 horsepower with grip.
Yep. Yeah, watch that.
That's what it takes to drift.
That hill, the back hill there on Road Atlanta into that 90-degree left-hander was pretty wild.
Yeah. And I'm telling you, when you watch a car do like tandem drifts, really, really cool.
Yep.
Like it's far more impressive in person than when you're watching videos of it.
Yeah, no question. And I think it's more impressive watching people do it like that than watching the, FD stuff on television, because the FD stuff on television is so clinical. Like it's a short little section. Every car runs exactly the same line, exactly the same way, because they have to hit all exact same points. And it's just, I don't know, it feels too clinical. And I'm also more into, obviously, just like anything else, I'm not as into the 1,000 horsepower, $250,000 build. I'm more into the guy who does it on a weekend and has 300 or 400 horsepower. So it's more fun to watch that to me. But anyway, no, again, I'm stoked you're going. I'm jealous I'm not, and I will be glued to my phone this weekend looking at pictures and videos from everybody going there.
So while we're talking about motorsports, might as well talk about NASCAR.
Sure.
So the road course was at Indy last week.
Yep. Traditionalists be damned. I enjoy it immensely. And it's fine that they don't run the Brickyard 400 anymore.
Yeah, I thought they still ran it, and then this was just extra, but I guess they decided to do this instead.
Yeah, last year they switched to just the road course. There's no more Brickyard.
Interesting.
Yeah, the traditionalists are pretty upset about it because they don't like road courses. But I don't know. I think it's cool. It's something different, and they still get to go to Indy. It's still no less legendary or important as a road course, I don't think, than as an oval, because they're not open wheel cars anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Oh,
It'd be
I have
neat
a
if they did
question.
both. Okay.
Since you were at Indy, were they going in the opposite direction of the oval?
On the road course, they were, yes.
Okay.
So the oval
That's what I thought.
normally goes counterclockwise, like every other oval, left-hand turns.
Yes.
On the road course, it goes the opposite direction,
Okay.
clockwise.
That's what I thought.
Yep.
Because you were seeing them come out towards the start-finish line. I'm like, I feel like that's on the wrong side.
Yes. Yep, it is.
Interesting.
I don't know if that's just the way the road course is laid out, or I mean, most road courses are clockwise, though, right? I'm trying to think. You run Lime Rock clockwise.
Yeah, it's clockwise.
Yeah, I think most road courses are clockwise.
Thompson's clockwise.
trying to think of how
NHMS
they
is
run it.
counterclockwise because you run
NHMS.
part of the oval.
Yeah, you're right. You do. And Daytona's counterclockwise.
Yep.
No.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it is. Yep.
Yep.
So, but dedicated road courses, I think, are usually clockwise. Like the Nürburgring is clockwise, right?
No, it's counterclockwise.
I think this is
And
a deep dive we'll have to go into
No.
at some point.
No, it's clockwise. Sorry. On the
Nürburgring's
map.
clockwise, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Because when you're looking at it, you head towards the south part of it first.
Yeah, Nürburgring's
Yeah.
definitely clockwise.
But
Yeah, I think most...
Laguna Seca is counterclockwise.
Huh. All right. We'll put a pin in this. We're going to have to go into a little bit of research and to find out what determines which way a racetrack is run. And it could just be the way it's laid out. You know, the corners might not make sense going the opposite direction, so they just do it the other way. That could be it.
Yeah. And like Circuit de la Sarthe, so Le Mans, is clockwise.
Clockwise.
Weird.
Yep. Anyway, we'll have to do a deep dive and to figure out why
Road
they're
Atlanta,
run that way.
Clockwise. Huh. All right. Funky. Well, anyway, it was a really cool race at Indy. I thought the first and second stages were pretty... First stage was definitely pretty wild. Second stage calmed down a bit. And then it's interesting, too, that I feel like the first road course they ran this year at COTA, I feel like they did the competition yellow, and then they decided not to do it for the rest of them. Is that right?
They're not doing any competition yellows for road courses.
But I thought they did it for the first one at COTA. And then they were like, yeah, that's dumb. Don't do it.
Yeah, I don't remember if they did COTA or not, but I know that what I've noticed as at this year, they haven't done so end of stage breaks and no competition yellows in the beginning, and then no stage break yellows. So every stage, just the race keeps going, regardless of the stage ending or not. In fact, so this race here, so there was talk of them not doing the road course at Indy this year because last year was such a crash fest. But this year it was the exact opposite. There was one yellow for a crash the whole entire race.
It was a really clean race, like super fast race, like
super clean race. Yeah, super clean race. I was actually like I was hoping for a yellow in the end. I'm not anti McDowell. You know, he's actually the local Phoenix driver. But I'm also like pro Chase Elliott and Daniel Suarez, who were second and third, and I really wanted one of them to have a chance. And McDowell was so far ahead of them that there was no way they were going to catch him unless they got a yellow. But it didn't happen. So,
and then like early on, like SVG wasn't too bad, but apparently he had something wrong with the car, like the throttle was sticky or something.
Yeah, he definitely was wasn't the force to be reckoned with like he was at Chicago.
But I thought Kobayashi was like, I think he got beat up. Like I think he hit a couple of people, and a couple of people hit him back.
So one
It
thing
kinda
that
turned around
seemed
a
to
bit.
be happening was that the guest drivers, the ones who were not NASCAR drivers, if they got a little bit aggressive, the NASCAR drivers were like, "All right,
Just, like,
that's how we're
stomping
going to
them.
play it. Forget about it. You're all done." Kobayashi was fast, but he had a couple of, I think I can remember 2 moments he had going into turn 1 where he just did not get
A bunch of
woed
people
down
had
enough.
turn 1 issues.
Yeah, well, much less than last year. He had a couple issues in turn 1 where he couldn't get woed down enough, and he hit a couple drivers, and the retaliation came swift and quick. And I think he finished like 33rd or 34th, unfortunately. But the Toyota he was driving, he had the GR Racing North America livery Toyota, and it was a really good looking race car out there. So it was neat to see. But I think he's run NASCAR before
Yeah.
somewhere. But so that was cool to see. And there was another driver from Touring Cars who just kind of was mid to back of the pack all day. I don't remember what it was. So yeah, the guest hot shoe drivers weren't really as I don't want to say impressive, but they didn't really. Oh, Jenson Button was there too.
Yep.
I think he finished.
I was really pulling for Suarez because he had the pole. His car was super fast at the beginning,
Yep.
but
Yeah, he got screwed a little bit in the pits.
yeah, he drove over the airline.
Yeah, he drove over it and stopped the car right on top of the airline. So when the tire changer went from right to left, he had to back the car up over the airline, unfortunately, which, that those extra 10 seconds that takes are enough to
Yep.
take you right out of contention, especially if there's no yellows. Like I said, I really want to see Elliott get in the playoffs, and I'd really like to see Suarez, win the race, but unfortunately it didn't happen. Actually,
Well, right now, so it's
Suarez
like
in the playoffs as well, too.
So I guess like McDowell was a spoiler a bit. Like
There's 3 more regular season races, 3 or 2, maybe 3,
maybe 2. So it put Suarez closer to getting to the playoffs.
Yes,
Bumped Bubba Wallace down because he was just trying to hold on apparently during this race and just not lose points. Like,
yeah,
just
he's not
maintain.
a great road course racer, self-admittedly to himself.
Which is funny because the first time I heard of him, they were at like Road America in like a Busch Series race in the rain.
Yep,
And he was doing pretty good running in front of everyone, but just getting
really
sideways.
good against against the next tier down of drivers. Maybe
Yeah.
not quite there with the NASCAR guys, the Cup Car guys. So
Um,
Bubba and Daniel are on either side of the cut line.
Yeah.
So you have Bubba's in I guess 16th. Yeah, 16th and 17th. And they're only 28 points apart from one another.
Yeah. And then you've got Chase Elliott, who hasn't won a race at all this season. So he's trying
Chase
to
Elliott
win
missed 5 or 6 races this season.
7 races they were talking about.
7 races? I know it was a lot because he was injured and then he had a penalty.
Yeah.
So he missed a bunch of races. And despite that fact, he's only 3rd down on the cut line, down by 80 points. So theoretically, if Wallace, Suarez, and Ty Gibbs all have really bad days for the next 2 weeks, and Chase Elliott has really good days, theoretically he can still get in, but 80 points is a huge gap. So
I thought they said mathematically it's just like points are impossible. I feel like they said that during the broadcast. Like he has to have a win.
I don't think it's impossible yet because I guess it would be because you can't lose points, right? Unless you have some kind of weird penalties. So yeah, that wouldn't work because the most points you can get is what, 20?
I guess.
Yeah, I'm not sure how it works.
It must be 2 or 3 more races left because they've had 14 winners. So do they do like a bracket of 16? I don't know how the playoffs work.
It's a bracket of 16. Yep.
And they said SVG is not eligible.
Correct, because he's not a regular driver.
Yep.
You have to run, I forget how many races in order to be there. So
So they must do. So it must be because if there's 13 eligible drivers, it must be like 2 more races. I feel like, and then whoever's above the cut line probably gets in, and they make 16.
It's 3 more races.
3 more races.
3 more
All
races. Oh,
So
2 more races. You were right. I'm reading it wrong.
Yeah.
So
2 more races.
There's the Go Bowling at the Glen, which
Yep.
is what you're going to, and then the formerly much better named race, but is now the Coke Zero Sugar 400 at Daytona. So
It used to be the Coca-Cola 600, wasn't it?
the Coca-Cola 600 is at Charlotte. I
Oh,
think.
oh, sorry. Yeah, that we've talked about that. That is the
Yeah.
same day or as Indy.
Same weekend as Indy. Yeah, that's right. Yes, like Coca-Cola 600 same day as Indy. That's Memorial Day, not Labor Day. Look, I got it right for once.
You did.
Got me. Yeah. So yeah, Go Bowling at the Glen is the next race, which is the Watkins Glen race that you're going to, and then the Coke Zero Sugar 400, which used to be the Coca-Cola 400, is at Daytona the following week on Saturday. That's a night race on Saturday, so that's cool. That's the end of it.
Admittedly, Go Bowling at the Glen is a great name for a race. Because
It's
there's
a
usually some
terrible
wrecks.
name, but a good name. I don't know what Go Bowling is. I assume it's some sort of like national bowling promotional company or something, but
Yeah, they're trying to bring bowling back. I
Yeah.
don't know.
whatever. Bowling's a great sport. I'm into it. Introduce Candlepin to the rest of the country and you'll have something. I really think so. Anybody who's been to New England and has gone Candlepin bowling has enjoyed it.
Yep.
I think it's more fun than 10-pin bowling, personally. It's more fun to chuck that little softball-sized bowling ball 1,000 miles an hour than it is to lug around a 12-pound 10-pin ball.
Yeah. So anyway, at the Glen,
Yeah.
I got tickets for Turn 11
A bit of
grandstands.
bowling with off topic. Okay, so I was wondering how it worked there. It's not like Lime Rock; you have actual seats.
You can get general admission that have no assigned seats,
Okay,
but you can also buy seats and still walk around. So I was like, why don't I buy some seats? These are Turn 11, so it's the turn right before start finish. So hopefully there's action there. But I also intend to walk around a bit and check it out because I've never been there before.
it'll be neat. It'll be neat to see. I've never been to a NASCAR road race event, so that'll be.
No, I have not. I have not done that. So yeah.
Wait, both of us have talked about going to Watkins Glen since we started this podcast, or since before we started this podcast.
I know, and I was just like, you know what, I'm doing it, and
Yeah.
I
Did it?
bought some tickets, and we're doing it.
Yeah,
it
but
worked
the
out
track
that-
map has 0 like spectator spots around like half the track. So I wonder how much of that you can walk.
I don't know. We'll find out.
Yeah.
But yeah, and my father-in-law is visiting, and he's a NASCAR guy. I was like, all right, he'll enjoy it.
Yep.
'Cause,
And it looks like turn 11 grandstand's pretty good because you get to see turn 10 and turn 11 from your seat.
Yeah,
Whereas if you were on like the main straight, you wouldn't get to see much.
exactly.
So
And you can probably see down to turn 1 from there.
probably, yep.
And yeah, and like, my father-in-law has never been to a NASCAR road course race either. So
Sure. He's been to the Phoenix race. I know that.
yeah.
Very cool. Very, very cool. I'm into it. So I'm jealous of your next 2 weekends in a row, actually. I want to go to both these events. I'm going to have to try to get tickets to Sonoma or something next year so I can go see a road course race. Anyway, so yeah.
I keep forgetting that you're like on the West Coast sometimes, and I'm like, oh man, that'd be cool to go to that event. And then I'm like, oh yeah. After it goes by, I'm like, Brad's out there. We could have just maybe we can.
Well,
have
you
it.
planned on doing a bunch of stuff here in October, and I haven't heard whether you want to come out or not. So,
Yeah, what do you get going on in October?
So we have a bunch of stuff. We have Radwood here in Phoenix. We have
Actually, I think it starts the last weekend in September.
September, possibly. Yes, there's Radwood here in Phoenix. There's the Williams Vintage Japanese event here in Phoenix. and we have the Prescott Rally, all in like a 3 or 4 week period.
You said them in reverse order.
Okay, so I'm terrible with dates, as everybody who listens would know. So at the Prescott Rally, we have the Williams
28th, 29th.
of September.
Yep.
Which I'm only going to Saturday, unfortunately, just because I started a new job. I don't want to take a day off already, but I'm already taking a trip myself at the end of the month. So
I definitely can't make that one.
okay, and then
Tell
we
you
have
why, off the podcast.
okay, and then we have Williams. Oh, I don't even know. I should probably get these dates right.
Yeah, it's Williams, I think, is the following weekend. I've been looking it up. But I'll let you look it up. Why don't you look it up real fast? So it's the Williams. It's the same weekend, unfortunately, as Japanese Classic Car Show
Yep.
in Long Beach.
So it's October
But-
6th and 7th.
Been to that a couple times now, luckily. So I would rather see the Williams show.
There's a good reason for it. The event is the same weekend every year in Williams. Williams is this tiny little sleepy town in northern Arizona that's up in the woods along the original Route 66. It was actually the last town to be bypassed on Route 66. So it has that going.
So
for
this
it.
is Radiator Springs.
It's 100% Radiator Springs. It has all the little tchotchke shops and the diners and all of the, 30s, 40s, 50s Americana in this little town. And we take it over every year as the, JDM Classic. There's other car shows up there during the year. They have like a hot rod day and a muscle car day and all this kind of stuff up there. So it's the same weekend every single year and they don't change it. And they have all their sponsors in the town. Everybody supports it, and they shut down all the parking downtown for the old cars. So they couldn't change the weekend. So when JCCS announced their date as the same date, the organizers of both events are actually friendly, and they had a conversation. And the reason JCCS changed their date was because the town of Long Beach was like, "No, this is the date you can have. Take it or leave it." So unfortunately, it's just the way it's going to be this year. Next year, it won't be the same way again. So the only thing that's making me a little bit nervous about it is I don't know if it's going to affect attendance at the Arizona show or not, because JCCS is obviously a larger event. I just think that it might affect it a little bit. But anyway, so yeah.
Were you getting people from California?
We're not getting that many people from California. We do get some. People come from as far as Oregon to go to the Williams show. But a lot of people that are here go to JCCS every year. So, and I know for a fact of at least 3 people who normally go to Williams who aren't going to be there because they're going to be at JCCS. So,
honestly, not. JCCS was cool.
Yep.
But I wouldn't rush back for another year.
Well, if you're the person who has the car in the show and has a car in the show every year, the year you went, the first year was a little bit different. I think last year was a little bit better with the grass event versus the concrete event.
I know, but even with you had the car in the show,
that was a weird year.
But it was still a good show.
Yeah, it was a great show.
But
That was a weird year.
Even if we had a car in the show this past year, yeah, cool. It was a cool show. I'd rather do something else. Personally,
100%.
I'd rather experience a different show.
Sure. I enjoy the show, and I go because it's not a super far drive, and it's one of the best places to see old Japanese cars. But
absolutely. And I'm not saying it's a bad show, but I would do something else.
I'm going to support Greg and Becky in their local show here in Williams, which I would pretty confidently say is one of probably the second largest all vintage Japanese show in the country that I know of anyway. It's a great time, and it's for a good cause, so I'm going to go to that. So that's all there is to it. Plus, I can bring multiple cars to this if I have multiple drivers, so I will, because why not, right? So I'm definitely going to that. The same weekend as all that is also, I guess, the Hot Wheels convention in California, which a lot of the guys who are into old Japanese cars are also big Hot Wheels nerds. And that's why some of the people who go to both shows usually are going to JCCS, because it's also the same weekend as the Hot Wheels convention.
All right. Yeah, whatever.
Again, to each their own. I'm a giant diecast nerd. I don't think I'm quite at the level of going to the diecast convention, but I've been told it's a great time, so maybe some year I will if it's JCCS again.
Hot Wheels convention or a diecast convention?
It is a Hot Wheels convention. It's put on by Mattel.
Yeah, I don't want to go to that.
Yeah.
I go to no, seriously, I go to Hot Wheels convention. Sorry, I go to a Diecast convention. I'm not interested in just an exclusive Hot Wheels convention.
So I had that same thought, but I guess there are lots of vendors and stuff that have everything. So anyway, it is what it is. I probably will never go to the Hot Wheels convention, but if I'm ever there at the same time, maybe I'll go check it out. But I'm not going to go there for my destination. So listen, I'm not shaming anybody who does. If that's your thing, that's your thing. It's just not my thing.
I am.
So yeah. Well, you can be mad at Andrew, not me. So anyway, but yeah, all those things are the same weekend, which kind of stinks. So anyway, moving on from events. Oh,
and then Radwood's the following weekend.
I think the following weekend, yep.
Which they didn't really announce a location yet officially. If you know, you can tell me it's secret.
No, I think we can say it's going to be at the other Radford.
Oh,
so
racetrack?
The race school, yep.
At a racetrack. That would make sense to have a race school.
Yes, there's a race school at the racetrack. So actually, in big Arizona news, Radford Racing School just bought Wild Horse Pass, which is where the racetracks are and the drag strip.
Right.
Because this was the last year for everything there because they were shutting it down and it was going to become hotels and casinos and shopping centers. And Radford came in and saved it.
If we're being honest, that is most of Arizona.
It's very true. But Radford came in and saved it, and for the foreseeable future is keeping the drag strip and all. There's 5 road courses right there, and they're keeping them all open. So
there's 5?
Yeah, there's 4 or 5 separate tracks.
You gotta go do some track days.
They do have track days there. I've been talking about this for a while. I don't currently have a track day, a car that I have eligible and ready to take to a track day. I need to make something that's ready to go to a track day. So that's all in the plans for this next coming year or two, is to have a car I can go to track days with. So everybody will say, yeah, you have plenty of cars you can go to track days with, but I am nervous to take the 944 to a track day only because of cost of parts.
Corolla wagon.
The Corolla wagon is potentially part of the reason that I'm doing the suspension in the car, and part of the reason that I went with stuff that I went with was to do track days with it. So,
I'd get a little more modern wheel with a sticky tire for it.
I have plenty of wheels.
Yeah.
I have a set of 4-spoke Celica wheels.
Yeah.
Factory Toyota Celica wheels that I'm going to put tires on for that. So
that'd be a good car for it.
Yeah, well, the plan is eventually to make the Blue Colt into a much quicker track day rally, like road rally style vehicle. But in the meantime, the Corolla is going to be done. That's part of the reason that when I bought all the parts, I also bought the Panhard bar, and I bought the good shifter, and I bought, some of the other stuff I wouldn't necessarily need for a street car. So
yeah,
mostly the Panhard bar, but yeah, no, it's definitely. That is the plan, Andrew. So you blew it out of the water right there. But that car will be doing a few track days because I wanted something that was tiny and cheap that has, at most 14-inch wheels, so I can buy 14-inch cheap tires, and has cheap brakes and has upgrade parts available. So the only thing that I still need to buy probably will be a diff. So,
you'd be surprised with sticky tires on a dry track.
That's true.
Like, I don't even notice that the G20 has an open diff unless it's raining.
Yeah. Well, it rains here in Arizona so much, so
yeah,
notoriously wet climate here. So
yes,
I should get. We just actually broke our 130 something day without rain. It was crazy. Without measurable rain.
Pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So
anyway, moving on to events. You did your project car update things. Let me do a couple quick project car updates.
Yeah.
Project car update number 1, 1993 Mitsubishi Eclipse. I was having some issue with the timing curve on the car and setting the timing properly. It just wasn't quite right.
Yeah, because this was after we did the cam sensor.
We did the cam sensor and we did like base timing on it, and that wasn't quite right. And I tried to adjust it a little more myself, and it still wasn't quite right. And part of the reason was we were both actually reading the marks on the timing cover wrong. So
Yeah, they're hard to see.
yeah, well, we also, for some reason, were reading them backwards. So we had before
Okay.
top dead center and after top dead center reversed. So instead of being at +3 to 4, it was at
Yeah.
-5.
Oh, that's not good.
Right. So that's why it wasn't running right. So that certainly helps to get that correct. I went and I talked to a good friend of ours and actually former podcast guest Josh from Adventure Driven Design. He actually volunteered to help me out because he has some extra good Mitsubishi diagnostic tools.
Well, in that
But
case, he's doing some sales on ADD stuff.
yes, Adventure Driven Design
So-
parts for Monteros.
Yeah, go check out his website.
Lots of cool stuff. And then totally independent, all on his own manufacturer. So please support him. And it might take an extra day or two from a big vendor, but it's worth it because he's doing it all out of his garage. So
Yep.
super
So
super
anyway,
good guy.
sorry.
And you can trust him 100% with sending him your money. I personally guarantee it.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Back to your
So
story. Sorry.
yeah, he volunteered when I was talking about having some issues with the timing on the car. He says, "Oh, well, is it running?" I was like, "Yeah, it's running. Is it running enough to bring it down here, or should I come up there?" I was like, "No, I can get it to you because we live I'd say about an hour apart from each other, 45 minutes or so." So I went to his house last Thursday, I think, Wednesday or Thursday last week, and I don't know if anybody remembers, but back in the 90s and the early 2000s, Palm Pilots were a thing. And there used to be a cable that would plug into your, OBD1 sensor or plug on the car and then go to a Palm Pilot. And it read the computer codes like it was the Mitsubishi diagnostic computer, the MUT1, MUT2. So it works like the program of the Mitsubishi diagnostic computer, but it emulates it on a Palm Pilot. Well, obviously, Palm Pilots haven't been around for quite a long time. So he has a computer program that emulates a Palm Pilot, actually looks like a Palm Pilot on your computer screen, and plugs into the onboard diagnostic port of the Eclipse. So he plugged it in and started the car, and immediately it was out 180 degrees almost of timing, negative versus positive. So we're like, oh, well, that's not good. So we adjusted all of that stuff, made it all correct, had timing now where it needs to be, get everything all set up. It's not quite right with the AC on, but I'll get to that in a second. But with the air conditioning off, car runs tip-top just fine. Runs like it's supposed to. It runs like a 93 Eclipse should run. Everything's good. Back in love with how the car drives. It's technically, quote-unquote, sold. Unofficially, but officially sold. So I'm not driving it a lot, but I just want to make sure that I had it back to a point where I could sell it to this person with full confidence that it was a good car because I didn't want to do it not running right. So I fixed all that. Big shouts to Josh for helping me out with that. Got it all taken care of, got it all working. Car runs good. Now, the issue is now when you turn the air conditioning on, the idle hunts. It goes up and comes down. It goes up.
Yeah. There's another switch that kicks in when you have the AC going on those.
So in the idle air control motor, the IAC,
Yeah.
there's 3 steps. There's like a cold start, a regular warm run, and then it has a third setting for it raises the revs when the AC is on. And it's basically like a coil inside the IAC, and they go bad over time.
Yep.
So that third coil is bad. So when it goes to that high rev, it revs up, and then the coil is bad, so it doesn't hold it, and it drops down. And then it goes back up again, and it drops down. So it's trying to get there, so it's functioning properly, but it's actually not staying there because that IAC is bad. So I have ordered an IAC. There were none that were like Amazon overnight or anything, so I don't have it yet. It's coming from Rock Auto. It should be here. I think it was an abnormally long Rock Auto shipping time. It was like a 7-day shipping time. So I should have that.
What brand is it?
I don't remember. I'd have to look it up.
Remember?
I don't. They didn't have the brand I wanted to buy, unfortunately.
The last time I bought one, they were annoyingly expensive, like $80.
That was $60 for the name brand, and I don't remember what name brand it is at this point. But they had the cheaper version that was like $37, which is the one they had in stock. If they had if they had the name brand one, I would have gone with it, but they did not have it. So it is what it is. It'll be fine, I'm sure. So I got to take care of that. And if I reverse one day before that, I had gone to recharge the air conditioning, and I realized that it was R12.
Yeah. Why wouldn't you think it was R12?
Because it's a 1993 car, so I knew it was built with R12, but I assumed at some point it had been changed because most cars by this point have been changed. So I had to convert that to R134, which I didn't have the stuff to do. Big shouts to Jordan, Stepson Jordan out here. He has the stuff to do that with, so we were able to convert it at his house. So
why did you convert it?
Because I can't get R12.
It wasn't working?
No, it stopped working.
Oh. I'm like,
Yeah.
why, like if it's still working, then you just leave it alone.
If it was
forever.
working, it'd be great. The car is ice cold until this summer, and it was not cold at all. At the beginning of summer, it was like a little bit cool, but not very cool. And then by now, it was not cold. So obviously, everything leaked out. So I found the leak also, so it's also not going to leak out again. The O-ring on the Schrader valve let go. So actually, when we took
love those Schrader valves, man.
Yeah. So when we took the cap off for the high side, actually the cap was holding air pressure in, but all of the Freon, because Freon is smaller molecules, probably a slipperier, came through that bad O-ring on that Schrader valve. Because the cap was the only thing holding pressure. The Schrader valve wasn't holding pressure anymore. So we were able to vacuum it all out, clean it all out, put the new PAG oil in for the R134. We also put some dye in just in case it did leak, and then recharged it with R134. And it's nice and icy cold again. Also, man, I keep forgetting everything. That same moment in time, I put a radio in the car for the first time since I've owned it. Because again, cars being sold, I want it to be. Why do I do this? Why do I wait until I've sold a car to make it perfect? Doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense. Anyway, so I put a radio in the car. So it has a nice Bluetooth stereo in there now that works great. And the speakers all function properly. And everything is looking good. And the car is running good. I just need that IAC valve. Car's running good. Air is nice and ice cold. Car's ready to go. It's been sold. It's just waiting on that IAC valve. And I put a windshield claim in because I have a cracked windshield. And I'll get a new windshield and get a new IAC valve. And then it's off to its new owner. So I won't say too much yet, but staying in the family, so it's not going far. So not actual family, but like family of the podcast. So We'll still be around. Yeah, so that's the Eclipse. So that car is going well. What else is happening? Oh, the other thing is annoying.
Your newest vehicle.
I bought a motorcycle. Talked about this ad nauseum past few weeks. In love with the thing. I've done probably about 700 miles on it already, which is impressive considering that's been only early morning rides. It's been so hot out. So I've done about 700 miles on it. This past Sunday, Naomi left in the morning to go for a bicycle ride. And I was just sleeping in a little bit. It was like 6 a.m. I was like, it's cool enough out. It was only like 82 degrees. I was like, I should go for a motorcycle ride. It's like, I bet 4 till 4 has something going on. So I looked, and it was their air-cooled day on Sunday. So I was like, oh, that's cool. I'll go check out some Volkswagens. Maybe somebody will be down there that I know. So I rode down to 4 till 4, and I ran into a kid I know. Actually, I'll give him a quick shout-out. He's a pretty good photographer. He goes on Instagram as Spiffy. So he's SIPPPFFY. This one letter's got more letters than it should, but I'll look it up later. I ran into him down there with his FB RX-7, and he was down there taking pictures of the air-cooleds. So I chatted with him for a while. So I wound up being there later than I wanted to be. It was much later than planned time of being down there, grabbing a coffee, drinking coffee, and leaving. So I talked to him for solid 45 minutes or so, then went, got a coffee, sat down, drank a coffee. Went back to the motorcycle, and it wouldn't start. Now,
Sure.
I bought a 2022 motorcycle because I just wanted a reliable motorcycle. I didn't want another project vehicle. I wanted something I can get in, it's fuel injected, or get on, it's fuel injected, and go. Wouldn't start. All right, this is annoying. So, cranking it. Finally, it starts. Oh, great, it started. Sitting there idling, I'm putting my riding jacket on, put my helmet on, it sputters and dies. Huh, annoying. Got to crank it over again, won't start. Just cranks. God damn it. So I turn the key off. I turn the key on. Now, normally when you turn the key on, you hear the fuel pump prime. I don't hear a fuel pump prime. I'm like, that's not good. Turn the key off, turn the key on. No fuel pump prime. I do this like a dozen times, and I hit the fuel pump prime. I'm like, oh, great, there's a fuel pump. I'm going to prime it. I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to ride home and figure it out. Get it running. It's running long enough to die again. Fuck. All right, now what to do? So I'm sitting down there, and I'm getting frustrated, and I'm looking on the internet, and a common issue with these is the fuel pump relay goes bad. Or, alternatively, when they're assembled, they put too much dielectric grease on them, and they just don't work. You gotta clean them off. So I dig under the seat. I find where these two relays are. One is for the ECU, one is for the fuel pump. I take them off, and yeah, they're absolutely, it looks like they dunked them in dielectric grease. So the only thing I have on me is a receipt paper in my pockets. I take the receipt paper out and I clean all the dielectric grease off, and I switch them around so that I can, find out if it's a bad relay or not. The identical relays, both 5-pin, Bosch style relays. So I switch them around and I turn the key on. No fuel pump. Okay, well, that wasn't my problem. I put my hand on the relays and I turn them on. Sorry, I didn't do this yet. So now I'm frustrated. Play a little more. I get started again. Perfect. I'm going to try to get home. I made it about a block and died again. Great. So I called Naomi, who's now home from her ride. And I was like, hey, would you mind coming down here with the car? And we can go to AutoZone and get a couple new relays. Because maybe the relay is bad. And if one's bad, one runs the ECU, one runs the fuel pump. If I switched them around, I'm sure without an ECU, it's not going to run either. So we go, and I go buy 2 relays at AutoZone. They're like $6, whatever. We come back, put the relays in, bike doesn't start. So I'm like, well, the only thing left is a fuel pump. That's all there is to it. It's the only thing it can be is a fuel pump, because everything else is, it's fine. So,
Or it's got bad gas.
yeah, probably something in the gas tank is my guess. Clogged the fuel pump up and burnt it out, maybe. I don't know. I'm incredibly frustrated because, again, I bought this 2022 motorcycle to have no issues. So I get the bike back. Thankfully, Jordan happened to be moving the same day, and he wasn't terribly far away, and he already had a borrowed trailer and a borrowed truck, and the trailer had nothing on it at the time. So he came by and rescued me, picked the bike up with the trailer, brought the bike back to my house. I called the local Royal Enfield dealer on Tuesday when they opened and made an appointment for Thursday, today, to have it fixed. So I was going to borrow my neighbor's trailer, who has a motorcycle trailer, and bring it over to the dealership. In the interim, I was on the internet reading about other people who had the same issue, and there is a known issue with these, and it is a warranty claim. But I was reading, and there are 2 local owners, one whose bike is currently at the same dealer I was going to, because there's only 2 dealers in town, and one whose bike was there. The one whose bike is there, his bike has been there for 3 months. The one whose bike was there, his bike was there for 5 months.
What?
And they gave him the runaround, and they tried to charge both of them and say that they burnt out the fuel pump by having sediment in the tank. And they
how do you
almost
like,
$1,000. So,
excuse me, what?
Yeah, it became a huge fight between
For
them
a
and
motorcycle
the dealer.
fuel tank?
Yes,
For a fuel pump on a motorcycle? It's $1,000?
$1,000. Yeah, $900 and something bucks. So I
What?
wound up messaging these guys on the internet from the local owners group, and they're both like, "Yeah, don't bring your motorcycle to the dealer because it's going to be nothing but a headache, and the part is available online. They're going to fight back and forth with you because they have to call Royal Enfield and they have to get the repair approved, and then they're really slow at it and they don't care about you at all because you're there on a $5,000 motorcycle, and it just becomes a whole thing." He's like, and then the guy whose bike has been there was there for 5 months said, and then all of a sudden the part was on back order. And the other guy's like, yeah, it was literally just last week they finally said, all right, Enfield's going to cover it, but the part's on back order till no release date. I was like, all right, well, this sounds annoying. I don't want to even deal with that.
Why wouldn't you just okay?
Because now I'm going to have to bring the bike there in a trailer, and if it's going to be there for even more than like a few days, I'm going to get mad.
Hold
and
on.
go pick it up on a trailer again.
Yeah, okay. These other people,
Yes,
are they charging them storage? I don't understand.
they're not charging them storage. They just don't care
I
about
would
their
just
bikes.
I would just pick the bike up and fix it myself. I don't understand.
Both,
It's not.
both of them suffered from having more than one bike, and it's summertime in Arizona, so they weren't
Okay.
as concerned about it. But
Because to me, that's like, all right, I don't care that much about being covered in a warranty. I'll just fix it myself because
Correct.
it's less than $100.
correct. So
It's not like the thing needs a new engine.
correct. So this is what my decision was yesterday after talking to these guys. I was like, I'm not even going to annoy myself with this process because I just know it's going to be frustrating, and I'm going to have to trailer the bike there and then go back and trailer it back, and it's going to be a whole thing because it's going to be in pieces during their diagnostic, and they're going to try charging your diagnostic fee, and it's going to be $150 diagnostic fee or something ridiculous like that. So I'm not even going to bring it to them. I'm just going to do it myself. So I did a quick look up online just to make sure it wasn't something more complicated than I thought it was, and it's not. It's literally the seat comes off, which comes off with the key. There's two 10mm bolts to hold the gas tank on. There's one plastic fuel line fitting, and then there's two evap hoses that aren't even clamped on. You just pull
Plastic
off.
fuel line fittings.
Dude, it's the same fitting as the Mercor. I was looking at it actually.
Yeah, but you know a guy now.
I know a guy, yeah. Also, I'm not going to break this one. It's not 35 years old. So anyway, it's literally maybe a 10-minute process to take the tank off. It's not a big deal. It'll take more time to siphon the gas out of it because, of course, it has a full tank. So where was I with that? So anyway, I looked online. There's a couple places have the part. It's a Royal Enfield. It's built in India. Most of the parts are out of India. So most of them were like, well, the part will be there September 1st. Now, that's 2 weeks away. That's not acceptable to me either right now. I just want it back. I want it to put together. So I did a little more researching, and I found out what the actual part number for the fuel pump inside the assembly is. Because you can split the assembly really easily. In fact, you're supposed to split it in order to change the filter. But Royal Enfield doesn't sell just the internal pump. They sell the whole external, assembly with the pump inside of it. So I did a little more digging, and I found the number of the actual fuel pump. And then I found a company out of Poland that does upgraded ones that last longer and run cooler to replace your stock Enfield one with. And the stock Enfield one is like $80 with the whole housing. And this upgraded better pump is only $40. And it comes with a new filter element. So, and it's out of Poland, so it'll be here next week instead of 2 weeks. So, win-win. That should be here. It's a direct fit. There's no fiddling around with it. You just put it in, plug it in. I was looking at reviews of it. It's fine. So that's going to happen. So the side story with this whole debacle is I'd asked my neighbor if I could use their motorcycle trailer. And she said, absolutely. It's kind of buried. I'll have to get it out of the yard. I was like, all right, well, I apologize if you want to do it. She's like, no, not a big deal. I'll get it out. I was like, okay, she does have a broken board on it because it's not really a motorcycle trailer. It's like a utility trailer. One of those Home Depot ones. It's like I think 5x8 with the wooden slat floors. And one of the boards is broken. It's not going to affect my using it to bring the motorcycle to the dealer. So I'm like, whatever, no big deal. I was like, but as thanks for using the trailer and your efforts for taking it out of the backyard, I'll replace that wooden board for you. It's just a standard 8-foot long by 5-inch wide piece of wood, 1 by 5 by 8 feet. So I went out and bought a board, and I'm not using the trailer now, but she already dug it out. And I was like, well, you dug it out. I'm going to put a board on it for you anyway, because you didn't have to dig it out in the middle of the summer heat for me not to use it, for me not to replace the board. So I went out and I got a board, and I got the hardware to attach it with. Now the problem is it's an 8-foot long board, and it goes into 2 C channels on either end. So you can't just slot it in the middle. You have to like bend the board to get it inside. So of course, I was doing that actually just before recording tonight. And I put a floor jack under the trailer so I could lift the jack up and then slide one end of the board under the C channel and then stand on the other end of the board to bend the wood to get it into the C channel. And of course it snapped. So you can't bend it far enough to get it in the C channel at either end.
Yeah, soak it with water.
Apparently you got to soak it with water. Yeah. Also, I noticed that all the other boards are cut short on both ends, and they don't actually touch each end. So they're not quite 8 feet. So yeah. I'll probably have to do both things. I go buy another board. Thankfully, they're only $9. I go buy another 8-foot long board, cut a couple inches off the end, and get it nice and wet and bend it and put it in. But did not go as planned tonight, so now I have to do it again tomorrow. But live and learn, right? I'm not a woodworking guy. I don't know any better. But anyway, see, the motorcycle is dead in the yard. I'm going to put the cover over it and just forget about it till the part comes in. And things dead in the yard. Things dead in the yard is just my lifestyle, you know? Hopefully the fuel pump just fixes the problem and there's no issues. If it doesn't, I'm just going to be frustrated. And I'll probably wind up selling the thing and buying something different. Who knows? We'll see. I do like the bike and I want to use it. I'm frustrated by this whole thing. And it seems to be like there's a known problem with one particular run of 22s. And I happen to have one of them. So it did stall on me on the way home once earlier in the week and wouldn't fire right back up. So I assumed that was probably this problem starting. I didn't realize it. And I thought it was weird that it stalled. And I was like, that's annoying. I'll keep an eye on that. Well, unfortunately, keeping an eye on it was the next ride. So it turned into a 2-hour ride, turned into a 6 or 7 hour ordeal, waiting for Jordan to get there with the trailer and the whole thing. And thankfully, though, I broke down next to a taco shop that had margaritas and
there you go.
$2 street tacos. So we made the best.
Granted, that's every block in Arizona. So
not in Scottsdale. Getting $2 tacos in Scottsdale is a challenge because Scottsdale is a little too fancy for that. But it was a very authentic taco shop. They even had the meat sitting there just rotating on a spit, and they shaved it off to put in your taco. So it's quite legit. So made up for the annoyingness by eating tacos. So and obviously a big shout out to Naomi for coming saving me, and for stepson Jordan for coming down and saving me with a trailer, and him coming with his wife and the kids and nobody complaining and just helping me out. So good stuff. But those are my project updates this week. Been an annoying week.
I think that's all we got.
The Eclipse is better, so that's all that matters.
Yeah.
So
very cool.
All right.
So Auto Off Topic Podcast on Facebook, Auto Off Topic on Instagram. Scale Autocast. I've been putting some stuff on there. I've been trying to do some videos.
I saw you did a couple of reels. I've added a couple of pictures the past couple of days.
Yeah.
I keep posting it in my stories on my page and reminding people we have it. We've got actually a few followers from that in the past couple of days, so that's good. Trying to build that page up a little bit. So,
and follow me, Race and Anger on Instagram, and still trying to make Threads a thing, but who knows? Anyway. Where can they find you, Brad?
Listen, Threads is going more positive than Twitter, right? Excuse me, X.
It sure is.
I have not joined Threads yet, but they can find me, of course, on Scale Autocast and on Auto Off Topic, where we need to post more there on Instagram. And my personal Instagram of TSISS350, where I am probably most active.
All right, cool. As always, keep your guys analog and aim for the roses.